Hi there, I'm Jim Zirin. Welcome back to More Conversations. Ben and Donna Rosen decided not too long ago that there were a number of large-scale events around the country featuring discussions of contemporary topics, but none in our neck of the woods. Weekend residents of Kent, Connecticut, they started something they called KentPresents, featuring smart talk, panel discussions about medical science, foreign policy, politics, technology, law, and the arts, just to name a few. Just 2 years from its inception, KentPresents has become the hottest ticket of the summer and a nationally recognized festival of ideas, inviting notably panelists from Nobel Laureates like Henry Kissinger to museum directors, feminists, chauvinists, frontier medical researchers, top journalists, entertainers, and even lowly talk show hosts like me. KentPresents smartly explores the issues of the day. The event takes place over the course of a weekend in an intimate rural setting, and it is something not to be missed. And here to tell us how they got started, where they are, and where they're headed are the founding mother and father of KentPresents, my friends Donna and Ben Rosen. We're delighted to have you with us.
Thank you.
Tell me, what is KentPresents? Who wants to take a swing at that one?
Darling, go ahead.
Ben.
KentPresents is, as you said, an ideas festival. This is where we take some of the brightest, most accomplished people we could find around the world, bring them to Kent for 3 days, and have them talk about what are the major issues of our day, what are the solutions to the problems of our day. And over the 3 days, we get about 75 speakers each year who speak to about 300 plus attendees. And it's one of the, according to our attendees, one of the highlights of the summer.
Now, as they say in the song, how long has this been going on? Maybe Donna can tell us.
We're about to launch our 4th year. Big surprise to us. We're particularly excited that of the 300 attendees that started in year 1, over 80% of them come back each year. So we feel that's a big plus for us, gives us lots of reasons to continue on. People seem to enjoy the camaraderie, the friendships they make, the time they get to spend with speakers, because we're very democratic. Everything is open, it's not closed.
When we started, we didn't know if we would be able to get a single speaker, a single attendee, or pull this off, and somehow it happened.
I gave a party and nobody came. But people did come.
We're astonished.
Now we have the opposite problem. We have hundreds, thousands of potential speakers each year we go through to try to select the 75 that we'll invite.
Now, how do you go about doing this? How do you divide up the work? Tell us something about your respective backgrounds and what you bring to the table of KentPresents. Maybe you could start, Donna.
So my background is hailing from the South, and
so you have a lot of Southern speakers.
Well, we have a good number of New Orleanians that come up each summer as attendees, which makes me feel quite good, and they love this. So my background has been in the visual arts, performing arts, and basically that's what drives my soul. So I get to indulge myself by bringing together these wonderful curators, museum directors, performers, poets, writers, all those things.
Now, Ben, your background is in technology, isn't it?
In technology, also in finance. I was a securities analyst for a number of years. And when I retired about 20 years ago, my life was mainly in philanthropy, and a lot of that was in the cultural world. And so my interests are both on the right side and the left side of the brain.
So you have an overlap, but isn't this like ham and eggs? How do you divide up the work as to which one of the two of you
I don't do
invites
science
which
and
guest?
technology.
Don't do science and technology. No tech.
I am no tech.
And do you do art? Do you do the museum curators?
No, that's Donna.
That's me.
That's done.
I'm the right side.
And the artists and those that...
That's all Donna. But I do involve myself in the performing arts, and we have had performing arts presentations each year as well.
So I think one year you had some performers who sang songs from Carousel and from
yes.
Well, they not only what we do is not only do performance. Anybody can hire people and do performances. We took something from Carousel, the bench scene, arguably one of the most famous scenes in musical theater, and the cast sung it. And then we had 3 directors who deconstructed it. They took each phrase and asked them to sing that phrase, and then they would discuss, why did Rogers use this musical phrase? Why did Hammerstein use this lyric instead of that? And then reconstructed it.
Jump in and say those 3 directors are all Tony-winning directors, such as Richard Maltby, Ted Chapin, Jack Viertel. I don't think they've won Tonys, but they're all distinguished.
Oh my God, but they're legendary figures in the field.
They are.
But now you do these 40 sessions over 3 days. Now, most of the sessions go head to head, don't they?
At any given hour over the 3 days, there are 3 parallel tracks going. So at the same time, you might hear a Nobel laureate in one room speaking about technology, an economist in another room speaking about income inequality, and one of Donna's panels about having 3 museum directors talking about the state of the art world.
Okay, so I'm an attendee. Who decides which one I attend?
You decide.
I decide.
And that results in one of our classic dilemmas. Everybody we talk to is delighted to have choice. We're all in favor of choice, right? On the other hand, their biggest complaint is they can't see everything. So this year and most years, we video every session. So if you miss a panel, you'll be able to see the full panel a few weeks after.
When you get home, you see it on YouTube or on your website.
Correct.
Okay, now let's give our audience an idea of what this is like. So I've selected some clips, and here's one for Donna. Oh. Let's go to the videotape.
Let me give you my phone number. Now, he had like 12 phones in his house, none of which he ever answered. He said, if you're calling me, just to leave a message, say tuna fish 1, okay? If you want me to reply, tuna fish 2. If it's urgent, tuna fish 3. He said, and if it's like end of the world, tuna fish 4. I said, listen, I hope, but he said, but never use tuna fish 4.
That's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. So a lot of them crack jokes, a lot of the panelists, and there's a lot of hilarity involved and a lot of merriment.
A lot of wonderful anecdotes as well.
Okay, so let's go to a serious clip that would have appealed to Ben, technology, artificial intelligence, the wave of the future. Let's look at that one.
Imagine in a few years' time we have a domestic robot. You know, one day we're late home from work, we call up the robot and say, you know, can you make dinner for the kids? I'm not going to be home until 8 o'clock. And the robot goes to the fridge and there's nothing there. And then it sees the cat. And it says, well, you know, I could go down to the supermarket and do the shopping and come back and do the cooking, but I can't really leave the house because the kids are too small to be left by themselves. And so I'll just cook the cat for dinner.
So do you have a cooked cat up there on the stage as a prop, or is this all in the mind?
While humorous, that actually brings up one of the big issues in artificial intelligence today. It is indeed the technology of the future. It's coming first in a mass way to autonomous driving. If we didn't have artificial intelligence, to have driverless cars wouldn't exist. But there are ethical issues with artificial intelligence, even in driverless cars. The car will have to make a decision sometime ethical. If it sees something, it may have to swerve in one direction or another, and some of those might involve ethical decisions of whom to hit or whom not to hit.
But you don't need a designated driver, and you don't have to worry about the driver having had too much to drink.
There are great safety benefits in this when it comes. It's really one of the great developments in technology this century. But because of the ethical issue, this year we're going to have an ethicist who's going to talk about the ethics of genetic editing, the ethics of artificial intelligence.
Now, there are other ideas festivals in the country or elsewhere. You have Davos and Aspen and TEDS. How do you compare yourself with these larger events that take place around the country?
We have established that we're just as good at putting a conference together. We attract wonderful speakers with great credentials.
Nobel Laureates.
Absolutely.
You've had 5.
We have.
Yeah, including Henry Kissinger.
And Harold Varmus and
Harold
David
Varmus.
Baltimore.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, Paul Krugman.
And
yes.
a lot of people no one ever heard of, but who have lots of great ideas.
And Kip Thorne, who spoke last year,
He's a
and
Nobel
this
laureate.
summer this year won the Nobel Prize on gravitational wave theory.
Probably put KentPresents on his resume, so they gave him the award.
Yes.
Now, speak at KentPresents, win a Nobel
Prize.
We have some other differences from TED and Aspen and Davos in that we are intimate. They're giant and we're small, and we sell the intimacy. Anyone who attends gets to visit up close and personal, if you will, with all the speakers. They're all together in this bucolic campus. It's a New England boarding school. And it's an experience you really can't get elsewhere. You were there, you know what it's like to be in that atmosphere.
Oh, certainly. I was rusticating in that rural atmosphere. It's marvelous.
Well, it's not only the atmosphere, it's the fact that the speakers and the attendees have their meals together. We try to provide entertainment. Last year we brought in birds of prey from the Ripley Livingston Waterfowl Society. So there's a great synergy that's going on among the attendees and the speakers that brings them together, and friendships have developed.
Now, you use the word sell. I mean, what's the price of a ticket?
The price is $2,500, which compared to going to a movie is expensive. Compared to going to Aspen is half the price. TED is a fourth of the price. And because Davos is priceless, we can't compare it. Not only that, we're close. It's 90 miles north of New York City.
Well, that would certainly explain it. Now, what about the themes that you've covered? You have these lesser-known people who are so expert. I mean, do you have any particular bias with regard to the subject matter that you want to cover?
No, we cover everything. If it's an issue, if it's a problem, if it's of interest, we'll cover it if we can get the right people. And we have covered some really big problems in our first 3 years. We've covered the water shortage with a solution, which is desalination. We've talked about the jobs that are going with artificial intelligence in the future and robotics. One possible solution is universal basic income. And we've done geoengineering to help the world if it suddenly heats up faster than expected by seeding the atmosphere with substances such as volcanoes do. When Mount Pinatubo exploded in 1991 in the Pacific, it actually cooled the Earth a couple of degrees for many weeks. And this is something we can replicate if necessary. And mass incarceration was a big subject this year.
Okay, so now one of the very good ones I remember was one on the racial divide and Black Lives Matter. And let's look at a clip of that segment that you did.
Okay.
And the Black Lives Matter movement is helping to shine a spotlight on these issues and make sure that people are not just angry today, but they're angry tomorrow, and they're angry next week, and they're angry a month from now, and angry and remaining angry until we achieve reform.
I think it'd be helpful if people treated black people the way they would treat white people, right? Which sounds quippish, but I mean to say, part of what we require is real moral imagination, the real effort, the real genuine effort to try to see in each other something like a person, like a genuine, real person.
Well, certainly highly relevant and a cutting-edge issue in our society, and very important that you covered it. And just let's look at another one, because we hear so much about Russia these days, and the connection, possible connection, and doubtless a connection between Trump and Russia. You had Les Gelb. Let's see his words of wisdom on Russia.
Putin is a bad guy. He's also a very smart guy. The combination is awful. People think, you know, we're going to supply the Ukrainians with more arms. We're going to put a battalion into the Baltic states. That isn't going to do it. We have to step back and realize that even though Russia is dangerous in these areas, we also have common interests with Russia.
So Les Gelb, the former president of the Council on Foreign Relations, certainly an expert on foreign policy. So you've kind of covered the waterfront. And then you have certain ideas that are perennial. They don't seem to get off the table. North Korea, China, trade. Are you covering all those as well?
Yes, those, as you say, those are perennials. We know they're never going to go away, and so those will be in future Kent Presents. But we also freshen it every year. We have over 80% of the speakers every year are new, and many of the topics have never been done before.
So we look for fresh voices that have new ideas to address many of these problems.
Well, I do too on this program. So how do you go about finding these speakers?
It's work.
It's like going out like Diogenes with a lantern.
Well, we have two people that help us extraordinarily every year. Michael Kramer, who has a long history in journalism and is also a playwright, helps us with probably a quarter of our speakers, heavily.
Les Gelb being one.
In the global affairs area. And Jay Kriegel is our expert in politics, and when we do political sessions, he helps us there.
Brings in congressmen and public officials and politicians.
And different voices.
Different on both sides of the aisle.
On both sides of the aisle, yes.
Right.
And all right, so now I know in Saturday Night Live, Monday morning, the gag writers start again for the next weekend. How long after a Kent Presents session, and you must be exhausted when it's over, do you start again looking for guests?
It's a 12-month program. We're well underway for 2018, which is in mid-August of this year.
And what are some of the topics you plan to cover?
Well, as I said, or you said also, a lot of the perennials will be there, the issues that won't go away. But we're never at a loss for new ideas. We're planning to do a session on origami. We're planning to do a session on molecular cooking, on ethics, as I mentioned. We have a wonderful...
What is molecular cooking? Is that the cat in the oven?
Well, as a matter of fact...
Maybe so.
You're asking the wrong person, but I'm told by my
you mean you're not implying that Donna's in charge of cooking and you're in charge of something else?
We have a wonderful session on autism. Every year we cover in depth some disease or diseases. We've done cancer. We've done... last year we did...
I'm having that moment. It's called...
Dementia.
You did one on
Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's.
I couldn't remember dementia. And this year we're doing...
Last year I learned that if you have a senior moment and you forget something, But then you remember it again. You don't have Alzheimer's. You just have a senior moment.
Yes.
If you have Alzheimer's and
I
you
think
forget something, you never remember
It's a great
again.
moment of relief when we heard that. Yes.
Anyway, we have a lot. There are a lot of topics that we haven't covered in the past.
How long will Trump stay in office? Are you going to do that one?
We actually had sessions on Trump this past year, but from the previous year when our panels universally picked Hillary Clinton to win, we're going a little gingerly on political
We certainly
predictions.
are.
Now, do you get feedback? I mean, do critics come and write columns in which they grade you and grade your performance?
Not professional critics, but the attendees respond. We do a survey every year. We get a very large percentage of responses, and our speakers respond, and that's very helpful. They also suggest other topics and other speakers.
And what has the feedback been?
Not to be immodest.
No,
but,
please be immodest.
No, we're more interested in the critical suggestions they make, the critical comments, and we try to adjust and change per their suggestions.
Now, do you do anything to promote the event?
It's all word of mouth.
All word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
And what has been your result on your website or on YouTube with regard to the videotapes of the sessions?
The video has been very successful. We didn't do it last year for complex reasons, logistical reasons, but we're resuming it this year.
Did archival footage, though.
And we have archival footage, but it's not suitable for the public. But we'll have it again this year. It's a valuable part of what we do. Part of our mission is to discuss and disseminate ideas. And video is one of the ways that we disseminate these around the world. The other part of our mission is charitable. We're a 501c3, and we every year donate all of our profits to local charities.
In the Connecticut area?
Well, in
Litchfield County?
Really northwestern Connecticut. And this year, yesterday I signed checks to 38 different charities that we're giving money to.
All with the proceeds of KentPresents?
Yes.
After our expenses, that's correct.
Yeah.
And it's the third year in a row we've done it. And it's it's probably the reason we started this on day one. We wanted to do something for the area. And so rather than do something simple, such as write a check, we invented something really complicated, an annual Ideas Festival, but we're happy we did it.
Yes. And are you also soliciting additional funding from donors apart from what people pay to attend?
Yes, we accept charitable donations to us, which helps us exist. We have no sponsors. Everything is a charitable donation that we get in addition to our revenues from ticket sales.
We also get donations in order to offer tickets to students and to those in the community that can't afford to buy tickets. So that charitable giving goes
would be
towards
students
that.
at the Kent School, for example.
Could be at the Kent School
High
or the
school
surrounding
students.
area, some of the colleges, the universities that are in the area, as well as citizens that live in the villages and the towns that really just can't afford but have a deep interest in learning.
So people come and they can learn about cutting edge technology, they can learn about advances in medical science, they can learn about politics,
when you
they
say
can learn about the arts.
When you say learning, it's not the learning you associate with going to school. We don't do tutorials or lectures. These are more discussions. We try to bring differences of opinion in there into the sessions. And
but you provoke ideas that can lead to learning.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely true.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that I like to say is that we hold this in the summer, which is a period of time that most people associate with recreation for the body. And what we coined this is as recreation for the mind. So recreation's an important word because you're actually having fun while this is going on.
Stretching your mind instead of stretching your calves or or your back.
The attendees come voluntarily, they pay money to come, and they sit through 7 consecutive sessions a day, and they would only do it if it were fun.
And you talk to them afterwards. So, oh, by the way, do you have a Q&A session after a panel discussion?
Yeah, that's part of what we talk about is the intimacy, the involvement of the attendees and the speakers. There's typically a third of every panel is Q&A with the audience.
Yep. Okay, so I have a question for you, Ben and Donna Rosen. Let's take some stock. What do you feel you've accomplished with Kent Presents?
What have we accomplished? We are giving monies to charities, the neediest of charities. We're hoping to create a halo, and I think it has begun, over Litchfield County, where you have music in Tanglewood. We're providing thought-provoking sessions. In a sense, what we're trying to do is to give people accurate information, truth. There's so much, as we all know, fake news out there and fake information. We're trying to bring together the smartest, most well thought of people to talk about difficult ideas, as well as to look at the culture that we're living in.
In a free society, we have to have the facts.
We do.
Thank you so much for coming by. This
A pleasure. Thank you for having
You're
us.
both so
Thank you,
charming.
Jim.
Thank you for coming by. Tune in next week for more conversations. I'm Jim Zirin. Take care and all the best.